Hey, Lisa here with another edition of Always Looking Up. Today we're going to do something kind of different. I'm going to do a movie review that's a movie review, but it isn't a movie review. Doesn't make sense, I know. You know, there's all kinds of movies, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some of them, you know, you wish you could walk out of and may walk out of, but then there are some that make you think. The movie that I went to go see was called The Right, with Sir Anthony Hopkins starring in one of the lead roles, and Rutger Hauer in a supporting role. Two of my favorite actors of all time. I absolutely adore their work. And you may ask, well, why did you want to talk about a movie that didn't get a lot of public acclaim or really that great of critical acclaim? Why would you do such a thing? Well, first of all, the movie did not get the acclaim that it might have wanted, because I think that when people saw the movie, they were thinking they were going to get another version of The Exorcist or whatever. The Exorcist, as written by William Peter Blatty, is one of the quintessential top horror movies of all time, and I'm not sure why that is. It was just really well done, and of course the story was a bestseller. This is not trying to be The Exorcist. It is a story of the life of a young man who was making a decision whether or not to go into the priesthood. And while you may think that that doesn't make for a very interesting story, well, in this case it does, because of some of the suggestions by the professors to the young man on what to do with his choices and how to make his choices. But the movie begs the question, what about your faith? And basically The Exorcist did too, but in so many ways this movie makes you sit there and wonder, why do I believe what I believe when it comes to God, the afterlife, religion in general, the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, and any of the other religions on this planet. So it got me thinking about why I believe what I believe and how that all came about. I was raised in a Christian church, a Christian family, and, you know, as a young girl, that's all I knew. So it's very easy for someone to say, well, that's where you get your beliefs. But what is it that caused me to keep my beliefs and to keep them now until this day? I haven't really shared this with very many people in my life, but I'm going to share it with you now because it's one of the stories of my life that was very defining for me as a human being. When I was diagnosed with Turner syndrome, I'm not going to go into Turner syndrome right now, but Turner syndrome, basically, they were telling me that I would never have kids, that I would never reach puberty, and all the complications that could come with that, and all the different things that would mean to me in my life. They actually did surgery to go in and look inside of me to see what they could see, and that was when I was 13 years old. Now you can imagine how that affected a young girl at 13 years old to be told such a thing. And I will never forget, after waking up from that surgery, it was the first abdominal surgery that I'd ever had, and I was in a lot of pain. I was very, very groggy from the anesthesia, and I was just in a very, very bad way, and I was very upset because they didn't just do a laparoscopy with a scope and go through the belly button and look inside. Those were the early days of the laparoscopic procedures. That was kind of new technology, new procedures and things like that back when I was 13. Anyway, they had opened up a moderately large incision and looked in there and proceeded to tell me the doctor who assisted my doctor was the one who proceeded to stand at my bedside and tell me that I would never reach puberty, that I would never have children, and then turn and coldly walk out the door. In other words, no chance for questions, no chance to really say anything to him. And my visitors and my family went home not too long after that, it seemed. And of course, the tears began to fall because I never dreamed that that's what happened to me. I never dreamed that that had anything to do with what was going on with me physically and why I was short or why I was different in any way. So it was just all a big shock to me. And about that time, my hospital roommate, who incidentally also had my first name and was my age, which is a very dangerous thing to do when you're a nurse, but to patients with the same name and the same age and stuff in the same room, that's a good way to make mistakes. But anyway, it was cool for me because I was able to at least have someone talk to me the night before my surgery. But she had gone through her surgery and she was being discharged, so she got discharged that night. So there I was, alone, in that cold, lonely hospital room. And I don't know why, but the tears started to fall and they just wouldn't stop coming. And I was wondering why such things had to happen to me. I was wondering if it was gonna keep me from having a normal relationship with a guy. I mean, I didn't know what to think about what was going to happen to me in my future. And the tears were falling just uncontrollably. And out of nowhere, I heard a voice. And the voice said, with a lot of authority and with strength and love is the way this voice came across. And this voice said, "Lisa, you will be a mother someday. I will not tell you how, I will not tell you why, I will not tell you when. But you will be a mother someday. And those were pretty much the specific words that I heard. After hearing those words, a very strange peace came over me. I cannot describe it any other way. You've heard of the peace that passes all understanding. I've never felt peace like that before, and really never since, because there was just such a finality about it. There was just such a feeling that I really had been listened to. Now, there's people that say that I was just distraught, that I just imagined that I was having maybe a breakdown or something, and mentally I was so despondent that my mind conjured up this voice. Funny thing is, nothing has felt as real to me as that night did. It might not be proof to you, but for some reason it touched me in a way that I'm not going to forget until my mind is gone. So it changed me and how I looked at God and how I looked at myself. And I consider I had been given a promise by God Himself. Strange thing happened as I started high school, just a couple short months later. I did reach puberty, even though I was told I never would. And that was very interesting. And I turned into that woman that you see before you today. Now, that doesn't mean that everything was fine and normal and perfect and I was going to have children just because I reached puberty. I got married at a young age, and it took years and years and years for God's promise to come true, the promise that was made to me to come true. But it did come true, and I didn't become a mother once, I became a mother twice, within 3 months of each other. So, do you have an incident in your life that has made you believe that there is a God? So, tell me about your moment. And I will see you soon right here. And I wish you all the best. See you soon.